So in August of 2020, my friends Andrew and Sam invited me to go on a skateboarding road trip. The plan was to travel to Zion National Park in Utah, and along the way, we would seek out skate parks to explore. The three of us embarked on a journey that was completely foreign to us. I myself had never been further west than Indianapolis, and now here I was driving to Utah. So we drove 32 hours cross country, arriving at a small motel in Zion National Park. We drove all through the night and arrived in complete darkness. So we didn't know of the beauty that surrounded us, and then we crashed out of sleep, unaware of what awaited us next. The next day's events were the most chaotic and unplanned 24 hours I've ever experienced. I often wish I could relive this one day because fate offered us the ride of a lifetime, and we just happily got on board and followed its course. And it all started when I was shaken awake out of a deep sleep. Get up, go outside. Andrew's screaming at me, and I get up out of bed, run out the door, and it's like I opened a portal to another world. Right in front of me is a massive 2,000 foot tall sandstone mountain, and it's painted in every shade of red, orange, and brown blended together. It's a beautiful sight unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And our little motel was nestled into the heart of this valley, and we had these huge canyon walls surrounding us. So we got ready for the day and headed to Zion, parked the car, and then rented bikes as a way to explore. And we set a course on an 8-mile road that was all uphill. So we're pedaling these crappy rental bikes uphill, and I'm just floored by the landscape of Zion. I'm looking around, and there's just desert plants I've never seen before, and the sandstone architecture. And growing up in Ohio, it was just all something that my previous experiences had never exposed me to. So after a long ride, we parked the bikes at Angel's Landing Trailhead, which is a famous hike in Zion known for its panoramic views and death-defying 2,000-foot cliff. So we hike up to the top, reaching the summit, and looking out over the canyon. That was the first time I'd ever truly experienced heights before. I was standing in a position where I could really see the world beneath my feet. And Andrew and I safely crept our way over to the 2,000-foot cliff edge, peering over it, just to feel our stomachs drop in complete awe of how far the valley floor truly was below us. And that was a pretty dramatic experience for me, actually, because it changed the way I viewed heights forever. Still to this day, I don't really find them scary, but rather just impressive. And so we finished the hike and pedaled back into town to go get lunch, and we could have finished the day successfully there. But through conversation with a stranger, we learned of a skate park that was within a short drive and decided to go check it out. So we hit the road, and we arrived at an awesome skate park. It was a pretty unique design, and it made for a fun place to cruise around. We ended up skating there for 3 hours until the sun went down. And by this time in the day, we were all filthy. We really looked ashy from how much dried sweat and dirt we had built up on our bodies. And we were 3 city boys completely out of our element. We had no way to go get a nice shower and clean up, and we felt as gross as we looked. And Sam at the time made a comment, maybe I can sign up for a Planet Fitness membership and we can all go shower there. Well, being in the middle of nowhere in Utah, that just was not an option. And it was as we were leaving the skate park, Andrew looks across the street and notices a sprinkler system running. And suddenly, that became our best option for a shower that night. So the 3 of us strip down to our underwear, lather our bodies in soap, and go running into the shooting streams of the sprinkler. And it is freezing cold. We're getting pelted by this high pressure water, and the sprinkler system's oscillating. It's like da-da-da-da-da-ch, da-da-da-da-da-ch. So we had to chase the streams down to stay in the stream of the sprinkler, and we're just laughing our asses off and screaming. And by the time we're done with our shower, we're nice and clean, but we're feeling more alive than ever before. And feeling nice and fresh, we headed to camp for the night. Arriving at a dirt road in the middle of the desert, And as we're setting up camp, there's just the constant noise of a high-performance off-road vehicle just ripping all over the place, having a damn good time out there. And we're like, yeah, we should probably go find somewhere else to camp tonight. But at this point in the day, we're just all physically and mentally exhausted. We had hiked 6 miles on foot, rode 16 miles on bikes, and then skateboarded for 3 hours, all in the sunny 110-degree Utah heat. And so after a long physical day like that, the last thing we wanted to do was pack up camp and go somewhere else. But that was the best decision we had made all day, because there was no other place local to go, so we ended up just driving to the Grand Canyon. And we hit the road and arrived at the Grand Canyon after midnight. And walking out to the observation deck at the north rim of the Grand Canyon, it was a dead silent night, not a cloud in the sky. The stars were coated as thick as I've ever seen, and the moon is just shining down brightly, showing the whole canyon surrounding us. And being introduced to that landscape at night was just an inspiring experience. But then we were sitting there and we're enjoying the beautiful night, and I noticed something strange out in the distance, this white light far, far away. And I couldn't explain what I was seeing, because all of a sudden it starts to dance up, down, left, right, making these wild and uncontrolled maneuvers. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, is that a UFO? And I didn't have any other explanation for it at the time, and still to this day I don't. And I just enjoy believing that I truly saw a UFO at the Grand Canyon. So at this point, we're exhausted from the day and we needed to find a place to camp. So we drive down the entrance road to the Grand Canyon and just pull off on the side of the road and call that home for the night. And we later found out that camping in such a location is highly illegal within the national parks, and we could have been kicked out immediately if caught by a park ranger. But we were so naive to what the rules were, and we really didn't even care at the time. So having a home for the night, we crawled into bed for what would only be a short nap, because we set a 5 a.m. alarm and crashed out of sleep. And at the sounding of that alarm, we were up and at it, breaking down camp, and headed back to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. We wanted to get there early to position ourselves so we could see the sunrise out of the east. And slowly, the whole canyon came to life, exposing a mosaic of color across every canyon wall. There was just red, orange, and brown, and then surprisingly, green. I learned the Grand Canyon is not just a desert. There's a massive old-growth pine forest that surrounds the entire rim. Mixed in with the desert landscape, there are these pine trees everywhere you look. And the tall evergreen trees mixed in with the red sandstone rock has a color contrast that I love and has since become my favorite landscape. And with the rising sun, we had completed a 24-hour-long adventure. We were just confused with the emotions of exhaustion and adrenaline-induced adventure. Our bodies were sleep-deprived, but our souls were more alive than ever. And I truly believe that traveling is the best way to change your life, because I returned home from this trip with just a complete new worldview, and I experienced so many things that I never thought were possible for me. I truly believe that as long as I live, this will always be the most wild day I experience. Thank you.